You're watching NFL Daily, and today's an early Monday version of the NFL playoff picture. Roughly 3 weeks to go. Yeah, there's the Monday Night Football game, but let's be honest, that's not really going to matter for the playoffs at all. So we're breaking down the playoff picture a bit earlier than we would normally do because we can. This is why you guys subscribe. Free NFL videos, college football, NBA, you name it, every single day when you hit that big red button or the black and white button if you're on the new version of YouTube, right here for free at Chat Sports. Tom Downey here with a look at the current AFC and NFC playoff picture entering Monday Night Football, but we're getting to Week 16. That's where we're at right now. We'll go one time briefly through both playoff pictures, then go in depth team by team for the majority of the teams still alive. First up, the AFC. The Bills and Chiefs are the only teams so far to clinch a playoff spot. Buffalo, funnily enough, has only clinched a playoff berth despite being the current number one seed. It's funny how that works out, right? Chiefs have clinched their division. Bengals lead the Ravens. The Titans, all of a sudden clinging to a lead over Jacksonville. We'll spend some time on that later on in today's video. In the NFC, 4 of the 7 spots have been secured. Philadelphia has also only clinched a playoff berth, although we'll get to them in a moment here. Vikings, Niners, and Cowboys all clinched their playoff spots. Leaves 3 spots for one team from the NFC South, and then the final 2 wild card spots. So in-depth first and foremost here with Philadelphia, who can clinch the number 1 seed with a win over the Dallas Cowboys on Christmas Eve. I fully expect the Eagles eventually to clinch that. It's basically a win at some point, and they'll secure it. But because they already have a head-to-toe over Minnesota, it's a matter of when, not if, Philadelphia secures that coveted first-round bye and home field advantage throughout the NFC playoffs. Minnesota now, thanks to a hilariously miracle comeback win over the Indianapolis Colts in overtime in Week 15, have secured a playoff spot. They're fighting for the number 2 seed right now, with the Niners, the other team that are very much in the mix for the number 2 spot. Remember, no bye now for the number 2 seed. These have changed the past couple of years, which does impact things. Niners took down Seattle on Thursday Night Football. They have the Commanders this week. Both teams have already secured their division. Leaves one likely division winner here. Eagles have not yet secured, but it's, again, a matter of when, not if. Tampa. And to be blunt, the Bucs and Brady are lucky that they play in a bad division this year because they're not that good at football. They're coming off a pretty ugly loss against the Bengals. They were up by 3 scores in that game, and then they just kind of forgot to play football the rest of the stretch. Easy game against Arizona, win that one, right the ship, and probably host a playoff game, by the way, against the Dallas Cowboys to open up the NFC playoffs. Dallas right now is the number 5 seed. We'll focus in on the wild card teams here, then come back to some teams on the outside looking in. But the Cowboys are the number 5 seed, but they're coming off a rather disappointing loss, and there's really no way around it. They blew a 3-score lead, 27-10, mid-ish, late-way-ish through the third quarter against the Jags. They throw a pick 6, quote-unquote. It goes right off the receiver's hands. Noah Brown, Rayshon Jenkins picks it off. And the Cowboys are back where they've been a lot in recent years, where, hey, they're a good regular season team. We think they're, again, first back-to-back playoffs appearances since 2006 and 2007. But do we really believe in them? Because I'm not sure I do. Are the Cowboys frauds? Y for yes, N for no. Sound off for me at the pinned comment on today's video. If the ad break comes here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there and let us know. Let's go to the number 6-seeded New York Giants. They can actually clinch a playoff spot this week. It requires a win and a loss by 2 of the following teams: Seattle, Detroit, and the Commanders. Because of that Giants win over the Commanders on Sunday Night Football 2012 win, the Giants have seen their playoff odds skyrocket, with everything else went on too, to 89%. Significant jump. The Commanders, however, have seen their playoff odds drop to 43%. Now, that's still a little bit better than the other teams fighting for that final playoff spot, but it is no longer a guarantee. If they won that game, they would have been the Giants in pole position to get that 6th spot. it's dicey now for Washington. I want to make brief note of two other teams in the hunt. I'm sorry, Carolina, Atlanta, New Orleans, I guess technically Green Bay and the Rams tonight as well. But Seattle and Detroit are still, and a bit of a surprise for the Lions, in the mix. We'll break down where they stand. But first, today's edition of NFL Daily is brought to you by Rocket Money. Do you know how much your subscriptions really cost? Most Americans think they spend around $80 a month on subscriptions, but the actual total is closer to $200. That's right, you could be wasting hundreds of dollars each month on subscriptions you don't even know about. There's an app I love using that takes care of this problem for me. It's called Rocket Money, formerly known as Truebill. The app shows all your subscriptions in one place and then cancels for you whatever you don't still want. They can even find something you didn't know you were paying for, and you don't have to go through the whole process of trying to log in. Like, I don't even know what my account is anymore. Like, I don't know my password. Got to forget password, go to the email, get all that crap logged in just to cancel something I don't want. With Rocket Money, all you do is press cancel. That's it. Super straightforward. Rocket Money takes care of the rest for you. Get rid of useless subscriptions now with Rocket Money. It's rocketmoney.com/NFL Daily. It could seriously save you hundreds of dollars per year. It's rocketmoney.com/NFL Daily. The Seahawks are on the outside looking in. If you look at the New York Times Upshot Simulator projections, 27%, because a Week 16 game against Kansas City isn't one they're probably going to win. And they have lost 4 of their last 5 games. The Seahawks, after being a fun surprise, are now collapsing a little bit down the stretch. The Detroit Lions have gone the opposite direction. They have won 6 of their last 7 games. They have a very winnable game against the Carolina Panthers, a very winnable game against the Chicago Bears, and a very winnable game against the Green Bay Packers to wrap up the season. The Lions guys might make the playoffs this year, and they could win 9 of their last 10 games and be a team that, maybe you don't want to play in the postseason. So will the Lions make the playoffs? 1, for they're going to make it. 2, for they're going to miss. The Commanders have the better chance at this moment, but only by a half-game lead. It's fun, folks. Get those votes in right now. NFC, one more time here, playoff picture. Packers, Rams, Panthers, Saints, Falcons, not that great. Let's break down the AFC picture here, but first, who's been the better conference so far this year? Type in NFC, or you can type in AFC for me in the comments section. The overview right now of where things sit in the AFC, a very hotly contested final couple spots. Only 2 spots have been clinched with 3 games to go, especially for the AFC. The Bills are on the verge of clinching the division. And by the way, once clinched the division, they will have secured at minimum the number 3 seed, because we'll get to Tennessee in a little bit here. They clinch that division with a win or a Dolphins loss. They are, of course, fighting, though, for a very coveted number 1 seed against the Kansas City Chiefs. They've clinched their division. No real scenario this week for KC to really focus in on, but it's probably going to be one of those 2 teams unless the Bengals suddenly stun. But we'll focus in on these 2. Who gets the number 1 seed in the AFC and that coveted bye and home field advantage? BUF for the Buffalo Bills or KC for the Kansas City Chiefs? The Bengals, currently the number 3 seed right now. My bad. But the Bengals have fought hard as of late. They have figured things out on offense after a bit of a slow start. They clinch a playoff spot with a win or a Jets loss. They jump from 5 to 3 with the results this week. The Titans now, oh boy, they have lost 4 straight games. Now, they should probably still find a way to make the playoffs. I mean, shoot, you got the Texans this week, but then you play the Cowboys and Jags. And there is a scenario, my friends, where the Titans lose at least 2 of their next games. And Jacksonville, who plays the Jets and the Texans before they face off in Week 18, Tennessee's got to start taking care of business, or they're going to collapse and fall out of the playoffs in rather embarrassing fashion. It's down to these 2 teams, and we had put on the graphic like 2 or 3 weeks ago, whatever it was, Titans should cruise to the AFC South. Well, they're not. Who's going to win the division? TEN for the Tennessee Titans, JAC for the Jacksonville Jags. The Ravens, the number 5 seed right now, as let's be honest, guys, they are really missing Lamar Jackson at this current moment. They've got to figure things out from that standpoint. Getting him back would help, but now they're on the outs looking in of that division race. They're behind the Bengals. The Chargers, the number 6 seed, getting hot at the right time, a winnable game against Indy. They only have a game lead and tiebreakers still to be sorted out over the other AFC East opponents, but Chargers in good position. The Dolphins, by the way, I know that loss to the Bills hurt. Now they're in the 7 seed, plus you lose headed tiebreaker against the Chargers, so you slide down. They're still in decent shape. I would not panic right now if I were Miami. You should be able to beat Green Bay and close the year strong. All right, the teams in the hunt. And yeah, the Colts are technically alive for another couple days. The Jags are fighting for the AFC South. The Raiders, Browns, and Steelers, if they get some really kind of crazy outcomes, can sneak in with winning out, losing out, but that's not really going to happen. I'm focused in on the AFC beast this year, right? The Patriots. And that Jacoby Myers play, I'm sorry, producer Jack, who's our Patriots fan. That play is, one of the most boneheaded things you'll ever see in your entire life, but could also end up being a big reason why they missed the playoffs this year. Because they're going to be in potential tiebreaker scenarios or a game out altogether, and that's going to sting. The Jets, meanwhile, end the year with the Jags, Seahawks, and Dolphins. That game against the Jags is pretty important. They lose that game, and their playoff odds drop to 11%. They win, they're hovering just south of 40%. Jets need that one. And the big question is, who starts at QB? Go back to Mike White, ride with Zach Wilson. Decisions in New York. One last look here at the AFC playoff picture. I think you'll see the Bengals secure a playoff spot today or this week. The Ravens actually do have a scenario I forgot to mention, but it's a win and losses, and it's a little bit complicated, so they should be fine. Bills, Chiefs, Bengals, Ravens, I feel good about. Other 3 spots, we'll find out as the NFL regular season wraps up.